to the very first episode of the Planet X podcast on the Channel Z podcast network. I am Chris.
And hi, everybody. I'm Mike. Welcome to Planet X podcast. Been waiting to say that since we came up with the name.
I know you have. So this is our first podcast. We're going to kind of give you a quick rundown. We're just going to kind of talk about various shit. Just, throwing a little music at you, little pop culture stuff, a little nerdy stuff, possibly some current events.
Some TVs.
TV
shows,
too crazy.
Movies, nothing way over the top. A little bit of this, maybe even a little sports.
Yeah. Occasionally some sports. So you have something, something exciting happening, like, the New England Patriots losing.
Yes. It's amazing how when they, Tom Brady playing a little cold weather with a ball that's not deflated, and his quarterback rating drops to a 60.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Things that make you go, But anyway.
Maybe that deal with the devil's up. Maybe this is what happened. Maybe Peyton Manning sold his soul.
Maybe.
He threw himself on the sword so to take the power away from Tom Brady and the evil Bill Belichick.
That could be the case.
I really feel they just have become the NWO of the NFL. That they're just bad guys that win all the time, cheat, get away with it, and they still have a ton of fans.
Yeah. But the NWO was cooler.
Yeah. I mean,
they were cooler.
I mean, for bad guys, for a team of bad guys, though, they literally had a serial killer on the team.
Yeah.
They had a guy that committed multiple murders. It's like it's the type of team that I feel like it's that if you made a Bad News Bears Karate Kid football movie in the 80s, the New England Patriots would be the guys that would be the villains in it. And you'd be like, yeah, you're not real. There's no real team that would be like this. And you're like, yeah. No, this happened.
Real team like that. So anyway, this past Thursday was Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Hope everyone had a nice one. Hope everybody ate too much and drank too much and then passed out on the couch watching some football. But
I ate my weight in stuffing. I think it was.
That's not good. Too many carbs, man.
Stuffing. You only get turkey stuffing. Really,
not a big fan of stuffing.
I guess
you know me. I'm picky with my food.
Yeah. With turkey stuffing, it's kind of like you got to take it when you can get it. If you're a fan of turkey stuffing, if you're lucky, 3-4 times a year. My mother has always been somebody that it'll be like middle of summer, and she's like, let's make a turkey. And she makes a whole big turkey there. You have like Thanksgiving dinner in the middle of the summer, a couple times a year, she'll make a nice big turkey. Partly because you always have that supermarket crap where you win a free turkey. You spend enough money through the course of the time, you earn the points, you get a free turkey. And then I get a free turkey, and my brother gets a free turkey, and it turns into, well, I'll just leave the turkeys at my mom's house because she's going to make them at some point.
Yeah,
and invite everybody over. So we have turkey. Right there's still a turkey in my freezer, and I'm not even sure when it's from. But it's there. It's frozen. One day it'll be dinner.
There you go.
But and I have a bunch of leftovers already. So I'm a turkey and a half already heavy, and it's only a few days after Thanksgiving. And
I've kind of reached the I'm done with turkey point because I'm not really a big turkey fan as it is. I eat turkey once a year, maybe twice a year, and that's if like on Thanksgiving and like the Sunday after if I'm at a relative's house.
Yeah, I'm a year-round turkey guy. I'm huge on a cold cut turkey sandwich. I can eat that, and I tend to because it's a little bit better than eating ham or eating greasy cheeseburgers or something like that. I get myself a turkey sandwich with mustard. Try and eat a little bit better.
But you got a good greasy cheeseburger.
Oh, I love. Yeah. Well, that's the problem. That's the the bane of my
That's
existence.
why we look like we do.
Yes, that's why I'm a big fat fuck, because of the greasy cheeseburgers and a large side of fries. But trying on and turkey being a healthier thing, I've been getting turkey tenderloin breasts and grilling them outside like you would a chicken breast.
Yeah.
And it's nice, tasty, juicy, and it's like a year-round thing. And I actually kind of prefer turkey breast over chicken breast. Turkey's got a little bit more flavor to it. You know, chicken, you gotta do something in the chicken sometimes. A guy explained to me one time, and he's like, chicken breast is like the tofu of meat that you gotta like add flavor to it to make it something. Because it's like, it's good, it's healthy for you, but if you don't like put a little vinegar or something on it, you're like, eh. Which sometimes I gotta agree with. Turkey could use a little this and a little that. Sometimes you marinate it in something.
Yeah.
Not turkey, chicken. I've said turkey more times in the past 3 minutes than any man should.
Yeah, you really did.
But I didn't do. I set the DVR for it at one point, and then didn't this year. I remember last year I had done it, but every Thanksgiving, the way we used to start off Thanksgiving was watch March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Yes.
And I
can never find it on TV anymore.
No, well, I'm in with me being in the New York area, we still have the old school WPIX, which kind of came back after going away for a little bit.
Channel 11, playing that.
Local New York station. They were for years. Every Thanksgiving morning, you get March of the Wooden Soldiers. And then, you could watch it before the parade started. They'd run it early enough that you watch March of the Wooden Soldiers, then you put the parade on. You switch to Channel 4, put the parade on.
Yeah.
And then PIX, after March of the Wooden Soldiers, ran Honeymooners all day. So you had a Honeymooners marathon.
Nice.
So you probably got the better part of 37 episodes of Honeymooners through the course of the day. So, flip back and forth. I watched a little bit of that. When halftime of the football, because I don't know if you caught the Detroit game, but whatever that halftime show was abominable.
I didn't watch any football on Thursday. I don't even remember what I did on Thursday. I know there was a Mythbusters marathon on Science.
Nice.
And usually, I see Mythbusters on. I will sit and watch Mythbusters all day.
I can't get lost in a Mythbusters marathon. It is one of those things that even if you've seen an episode, it's segmented enough that it kind of it isn't as repetitive. You can be like, you kind of have to see it 2 or 3 times before you're like, all right, I remember exactly what happens.
Yeah, and they announced that they were advertising it on the during the show, during the marathon on Thursday, and they're doing it again. They're doing starting on Christmas Eve, I think at noon. They are running every Mythbusters episode ever until they're done, which they did last year. And I was unemployed at the time, so it was fantastic. I just loafed around for like a week and a half and just watched Mythbusters. I took a break to watch A Christmas Story, and then I watched the Twilight Zone marathon on New Year's, but then it was all Mythbusters the rest of the time.
Now, Mythbusters is wrapping up, right?
Mythbusters is wrapping up. I'm not that surprised because once they got rid of the build team, the show kind of.
Yeah, that seemed like it was the last nail in the coffin. It kind of, when you heard they're cutting back and they're firing 3/5 of the stars.
Yeah,
it really changed the dynamic of the show. And it seemed like a swan song, like this season would be, or whatever it is. Has it been 1 season? Has it been 2 seasons? I'm not even sure.
I think this is the 2nd season since the build team's been gone. So a lot of stations were running various marathons of different things.
Now that Mystery Science Theater marathon is on the internet. It's on one of the internet channels, right? They live stream.
It's on the internet. It's streamed on the internet. I think Joel Hodgson hosts it, and he does like little intros to things. I didn't catch it. I've yet to catch it because I never remember it's on until after the fact.
What internet channel is that, or what internet pay? It's not. It's like one of those internet TV channels.
I'm not quite sure. Because I haven't watched it. I think it might stream live on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, because whenever I go to look for Mystery Science Theater, if I'm in the mood, I'll just go to YouTube or Netflix or grab one that way.
Yeah.
And I don't watch here a guy on a podcast. I don't watch a lot of that type of, I'm not fully bought into the internet television thing. Not because I don't like it, but just because I never think about it. Yeah. And I'm not, I just recently kind of got a component where I can watch more internet on my TV in my living room than going, because I hate sitting at the computer and watching television because I feel like I lean in too much and I feel like I start fucking around with things on my desk and I'm not paying attention to what I'm watching.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a distractible little kid.
So that's always something that's fun. Another, it's, and kind of on a side note to the MST3K Turkey Day Marathon that they do, they just announced, and they did a Kickstarter to get it going, and it met its quota in like less than 24 hours, I think. That they're bringing back Mystery Science Theater 3000 with a new host and new I guess I don't want to call them doctors, but I forget what they're calling them.
Bads.
The Mads. They're calling them Mads. It's the new Mad is Felicia Day, and the sidekick is son of TV Frank. Son of TV's Frank. TV son of TV Frank. Being played by Patton Oswalt. And I forget who the
it's what's his name from the Nerdist. Not Hardwick's sidekick, the big tall guy.
Okay.
I
know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
Jonah Ray.
Fuck. Jonah Ray. I was gonna say Jonah Hill, but I knew that wasn't right. I knew it was Jonah something. So I'm excited about that because I've always been a big fan of MST3K.
Well, it was something when last year when I got to meet Joel McHale and I was talking to him a little about it, and he's like, "Hey, we're working on trying to bring the show back," and I'm like, "That's fantastic." He's like, "Would you be interested in what?" He kind of was like polling people, and he asked me, he's like, "Would you be interested in watching the show?" And I'm like, "Of course I would." I'm like, "I miss the show being on because it was a great way." Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, if nothing else was going on, you could just kind of put it on, and even if you're in and out of the room, you came back in and you're laughing at stuff. You could watch it in a couple minute clips here and there. It was perfect all day watching television type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean they've been doing, the guys from MS3K have been doing their own thing. Joel's been doing Cinematic Titanic, and Mike and the guys that voice the robots. The second voices of the robots, I should say, do riff tracks. And they do live events. There's one Thursday they're doing Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny, which I'm going to go check out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and remember the guy. I always forget about the riff tracks thing.
But I've done a good portion of the riff tracks live, and they're a riot. They're so much fun. So if you get a chance, to go see them, I recommend it. They're usually on a Thursday evening.
They film it in a theater live. They're performing live in a theater, and then they simulcast it all throughout the country, and it's a lot of fun sitting there with a theater full of people and laugh at the stuff, and you get the reactions from the movies, and they make it it's a nice event because they even have like an opener movie. They show short film shit to kind of get it primed up, and they goof on some other crap.
Which they used to do sometimes with the original show. They would do shorts. So that's always fun. But the one thing we are leaving out about Thanksgiving, and this has been a tradition for 89 years now, and that's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade,
which I always watch.
I always watch it too.
It's because it's such that part of my life that I always watch it, and not that I don't know if I watch any other parade, like the St. Patrick's Day parade or any of the other parades that come out of New York. And like I said, being in the New York area, and you grew up in the New York area, it was always around. Did you ever go?
I've never gone. It's on my bucket list of things to do. My wife had said to me on Thursday when we were watching it, are we ever going to go? And now I used to live in the area where it was easy to go. Now I'm, a little further away. So it would be a couple days, it would be a really basically like a 2-day trip, to go see it. It's definitely on my list of things to see.
I always tell people I did New Year's Eve in Manhattan, New Year's Eve in Times Square.
So did my wife.
And I'll never do any of those things in New York ever again.
That's what my wife said. She said she did New Year's Eve, and it might have been, the millennium. It might have been 2000 when she did the New Year's Eve, and she froze her ass off and really didn't have. I mean, she enjoyed it, and it was an experience, but it wasn't. It wasn't what you're seeing on TV. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's something that I'd enjoy much more sitting on my couch.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. I kind of feel that way about the parade. Like if I ever go, I mean, it would be cool for me. I think I would like to go the night before and watch them blow up the balloons. I mean, I'd have more fun with that, I think, than actually sitting and watching the parade.
I had the same conversation with my wife that it's something I'd probably be more into than going to the actual parade. And what's funny is both our wives are big marching band fans.
Yes.
Because that was part of their life with school and everything, and they're both musicians to this day, so they enjoy that element of things. But to sit there for that parade, it would just drive me nuts. I'd much rather be at home cooking, or just the cooking's going on in the other room and I can smell it.
Yeah.
And any of those things. I like being able to sit on the couch. I like being able to get up and go to the bathroom, because that's something they never tell you when you go to these things.
No. And
where people go to the bathroom on New Year's Eve in Times Square?
Where they're standing.
Yes. But I with the, you get the marching bands, you get the floats. I always like saying, it's like, oh, here's a Spider-Man balloon. Here's there's balloons that always mean something to me at some level.
Yeah. And I mean,
I like seeing that. And it's one of those, like, it warms the heart. And and even when you see balloons for, there's newer balloons, and you think about kids that are seeing this and are like, oh, here's something that it's going to stick with them and they're going to remember it. And you're kind of watching. Yeah.
And I like that in the past handful of years, they've brought back some of the classic balloons.
Yes.
And not necessarily like, oh, here's Snoopy and here's, Spider-Man. It's, okay, here's the fireman.
I was, you've read my mind. I knew you were going to be, I saw the fireman guy, and that fireman balloon is 60 something years old. They've been, they brought it back out. It was completely, it was all New York City firemen work in it. And it was, it was either preceded or, it followed the fireman, pipe and drum corps.
Yeah.
So that's cool stuff to me, and that's fun New York parade things. Sometimes it seems like New York has a parade every 3 weeks, and when you have to go in the city for something and you get stuck on the wrong side of a parade, that's always an interesting phenomenon. When you see the guardrails and things set up and you're like, what's going on? They're like, oh, it's a Cuban Day parade. Like, did it go by already? And like, no. And I'm like, all right, I got to go to the other side of the street now before things get, before I get walled off. But this year I was watching the performers and stuff, and it always seems like the people who are lip syncing on some float somewhere, it's either people I've absolutely never heard of, or people you go, oh yeah, I remember when they were a thing.
Yeah, and it was I had heard of I'm gonna say 3 people slash bands that played on that sang on a float. Um, using the term sang loosely, being that they lip sync. Mariah Carey,
I did see Mariah
Train,
Carey.
and
I saw
Panic at
Train.
the Disco.
I did not see Panic at the Disco. Or if I did,
assumed I didn't hear them announce them as Panic at the Disco. I had heard they were coming up, and then I saw people on a float that looked like they could have been Panic at the Disco. So I'm like, okay, there's Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
Aside from that, every other artist now, and again, not my, top 40 pop music is not my thing.
Me neither.
There's stuff out there that I hear on the radio and I enjoy it. And I'm like, oh, it's a good song. But everybody was, recording sensation or, music superstar. And every time they announced somebody, my response was, who?
Yeah.
And maybe that's me just being an older guy now. But
this is one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to talk about this, because I knew you were gonna feel the same way I did. That I was like, I know I'm not completely out of touch, because I know there's things that come out, and if they're big, I've heard of them. I might not necessarily enjoy it, or I might not be able to pick the person out of a lineup, but I recognize the name, and I'm like, I couldn't even tell you with a, But it's kind of always been like that, even when I was a kid. You remember people when y'all were listening to pop music. It was like, I don't know who this is. It's, and it's somebody with some contract, because you're not going to get the biggest acts in the world to come and perform at a parade.
No.
And I'm not going to say Mariah Carey is like a has-been. Mariah Carey's going to be around. She's going to be one of those people that's going to be singing her whole life, because it seems like her voice she's just got one of those voices going to hold up. But and Train is Train. If somebody dropped tickets to go see Train at my door and I wasn't doing anything that day, I'd probably go see Train.
Yeah, I might go see him. I have to ask, did you feel the tidal wave of rage when the NHL float came down?
I did not see the NHL float.
You did not see the NHL float. Now, for those of you just that don't know, because this is a new podcast, I'm a diehard hockey fan. I will watch hockey over anything else. They are like, ooh, the NHL float, and they bring this and they cool float and all that, and then it had some country bumpkin singing on it. I lost my fucking mind, because when I think hockey, I think hick music.
Well, what is hockey music like? Rush and Triumph and
yeah.
Canadian.
Hockey music is rock and roll and stuff like that. But I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ! And again, my response was, who?
Yeah, I missed that, but it's
My wife was in the other room, and she hollers out, "What are you yelling about?"
I think
crotchety old man yelling about hockey.
Maybe that was a maneuver. It's like, hey, all you Southern bumpkin guys that watch NASCAR and don't like brown people, here's a sport that's a lot of white guys.
It probably was.
It's like the NHL. They're not quite doing it yet, but maybe that's their new slogan for is NHL, the other white sport.
Yeah.
And hockey's another thing that I only check. You're the big hockey guy, and I think you've almost been with every hockey game I've ever been to.
I think I have.
Maybe once I went without you, and I'm good for a hockey game every couple of years, and I don't mind it. I always joke around and I say if the names are easier, I'd probably be a bigger fan of the sport, but I can never figure out who anybody is, because it's just a bunch of consonants and squiggly lines, and I think some guys are spelling their names with like emojis or something now, or Eastern European hieroglyphics of some sort.
But yeah, I just I think for me, and again, this just might be me being a little older now. I just think the parade is the parade has kind of turned it into something I do just because it's habit.
Yeah, it just is like I feel like I should be listening to marching bands and people I've never heard of singing Christmas songs, and it's like, oh, here, whatever dopey performance they're gonna do. Yeah, they wheel out a couple Broadway performances. Those are always cool. I'm a big Broadway guy.
Yeah.
So that's nice, and that's a very New York thing. And any of those, like the New York, the tree lighting in Rockefeller Center, they have some bigger names at that, but there are all the opening acts are people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And then they wheel out they get the one or two big names that they have out there. But they're gonna get young and upcoming people to do those things to get the exposure. I just nothing stuck with me, and none of the performances are any or that memorable, because you're like, I'm not really watching them sing live. I'm listening to their single as they lip sync to it.
I think I at one point, and this is a reference to the lip syncing. I think at one point I turned to my wife and I said, if they were going to get somebody to lip sync, they might as well have just got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Because
I did see that clip from Lip Sync Battle.
Did you see Anthony Mackie?
I saw Anthony Mackie. I saw the Too Legit to Quit, and I saw I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt dressed up as Janet Jackson
and doing Rhythm Nation, which was phenomenal.
It was hysterical. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt makes an ugly woman.
He does. He does. He absolutely does. But that was kind of my attitude as far as the lip syncing goes. And like, I understand you're on a float, you're not really gonna be able to sing, but whatever.
Now, I watched those clips. I watched the kind of the YouTube promo for it, and I saw the two clips. And LL Cool J hosts that show. But then I guess it's in conjunction with him promoting his movie, they had Seth Rogen sitting there. And
because he's in that movie with both with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anthony Mackie.
Okay. Oh, is that Anthony Mackie? I was thinking that. I thought that was the other guy.
No, it's Anthony Mackie. And I want to go see it. It looks fun.
It does kind of look fun. It's something I might wait for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go drop $12 in the theater for it, but I do kind of want to see it. So
I'm at that weird point with movies right now. Like Creed came out this weekend.
Yeah,
and I heard a lot of good things about it, and I'm a big Rocky movie guy, because they also with the movie coming out this weekend, they were showing all the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Whatever channel shows all the Rocky movies all the time was showing all the Rocky movies all the time. So I watched little clippets of different Rocky movies throughout the course of the weekend, and I'm like, I gotta check out this new one. And I don't know, it did okay. I think it came in third.
It came in third. Took in just under $30 million.
That's not bad. What beat it?
Hunger Games and The Good Dinosaur.
Okay, that's two big things.
So,
that makes sense.
And both of those didn't really beat it by much.
Yeah, I think this Creed thing, it's going to be a slow build, because I think so many people are like, oh, another Rocky movie, and oh, he's so old, and oh, now they're going to do a movie about there's a lot in there that is putting like distaste in people's mouth, and this is just kind of rumblings that I've been hearing. There was a lot of people were talking about it. I was at the tailgate for the Jets game on Sunday, and as I'm walking through the parking lot, I must have heard 5 or 6 different conversations about it at different points, and it came up while we were talking, in our tailgate party too, that people just kind of have trepidation about it. There's still a lot of people that never saw that last Rocky movie, the Rocky Balboa, that was a really good film.
Yeah.
A really solid film.
Well, I think there's a lot of people are still hurting over Rocky V.
Rocky V left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. I think that hurt. There's people that are avoiding that Rocky Balboa. And then there's people that are like, oh, he's fighting again. How old is he? That's kind of unrealistic. And I'm like, have you never watched boxing? I'm like, all these guys come back and fight well past when they should be. It happens all the time.
Sure,
I mean, they fudged with the ages a little bit. So, it wasn't Stallone playing his actual age, but yeah, Foreman came back. I mean, guys, Evander Holyfield, kept coming back to fight well past when he should have. Because a lot of boxers, it's a payday. They lay that cash out in front of them, and these guys can't turn it down.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's a lot of money. And boxers don't always. So the sad part about boxing is, in real life, is those guys aren't always surrounding themselves with the most morally correct people that are going to look out for their money and look out for these guys' best interest. And these guys get punched retarded, and then they have no cash, and they got to go back. They got to be 52 years old and go back and fight.
Yeah. But I'm definitely interested in seeing Creed. And I like the idea that it's a Rocky movie without it being really a Rocky movie.
Yeah, it's that character. It's a kind of a spin-off film. And it's a different part for Stallone to play that kind of
he's playing the Mickey character, basically.
Yeah. And well, for him to not be the lead, for him to be the secondary character and to be impugning the wisdom.
Yeah.
Where Stallone catches a lot of heat for things, but his writing, I believe, is really solid, and it's a lot more. He won the Oscar for Rocky, and he's written some pretty good things for relatively goofy subjects.
Yeah,
he got 3 movies, and they're working on a 4th out of that Expendables gimmick.
Yeah,
and I think for this, it's he's probably taking it from that personal place. It's a metaphor for kind of fame and coming up in the world of Hollywood and being a young guy who gets a lot of publicity for some reason. And then, and having to live up to the hype of your father. There's a lot of story there. I think it's a good story, and it's a story that hasn't necessarily been told. That, there's a lot of these athletes and a lot of actors that they kind of have, they get this name hung on them. And then they feel like they have to fill those shoes.
Yeah.
So I'm psyched to see it, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. I think it's got like 93% on Rotten Tomatoes so far. So I'm hoping it builds. I'm hoping it gets. Not that I need 6 more Creed movies.
No.
It would be kind of cool if the son of Apollo Creed has to fight the son of Clubber Lang and the son of Drago, and that'd be fun if it went in a total weird different direction like that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Another Rocky note. College Humor did this bit. It's a YouTube video I caught. If Rocky 4, the 30 for 30 for it, if Rocky 4 had really happened.
Yeah.
So they got all the guys from ESPN, and they got people, and they're talking about Rocky 4 as if it was a real sporting event. And it is hysterical.
Nice.
It's like, these guys landed 97% of their power punches.
I'll have to look for it.
They were swinging so hard that sometimes they wouldn't even connect, and the guy's head would snap back anyway. It must have been from the wind. It was it's really good. There's 2 up there on College Humor. They have a 30 for 30 for Rocky 4, and they have a 30 for 30 for Angels in the Outfield.
Nice.
Which ties us back into our Joseph Gordon-Levitt conversation.
Yes.
But if you've seen any of the 30 for 30s and you like those kind of goofier sports movies, this is a great thing. I hope they keep doing it with sports films like that, and tying it in and getting the ESPN guys involved to kind of take a little bit of the piss out of both the documentary franchise and those films.
Yeah.
But it is a great bit.
Cool. I will have to check it out. Now,
My I don't know where your segue was going.
I don't know where I was going, so let's go where you were going.
I took a sip of water and I was ready to flow right into something, and I fucked up a nice smooth segue. First podcast jitters, everybody, or first new podcast jitters.
First new podcast jitters. You've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. You can tell by how many well the other podcast did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's exploded.
Well, speaking of planets exploding, most of my movie focus lately has been I'm going to see Star Wars in 20 days. I'm going to see Star Wars in 18 days. I'm going to see Star Wars. Where it's like an internal clock. It's like something that's been winding down, something that I've been waiting for 34 years. Has it been 32 years?
Yeah, something like that. And as we sit and record this tonight, we are at 19 days. Actually, even a little less than 19 days. Like as of now, it's like 18 days and 2 hours.
Now it's it's absorbing so much of my my plans of my focus is on that, but I refuse to look at any internet things or any rumors or any. I don't want to ruin a thing. I'm trying not to look at the toys too much. I'm trying to avoid conversations.
I have stayed out of the toy aisle for the most part. Although I did see something that I kind of wish they had when we were kids. And that is that there's a line of Nerf toys now. And there are Nerf lightsabers. Now, when I was a kid, I wasn't one of those cool kids that actually had the big plastic lightsaber.
Right.
My lightsaber was a fucking wiffle bat.
Yes, mine was as well.
But some of this
where those old lightsabers were essentially just a wiffle ball bat with a cool lightsaber handle on it with a flashlight handle.
Yeah,
and they had the top cut off of. They were hollowed on the end, so when you swung it fast, it kind of made a lightsaber noise.
Yes,
that was the. And I knew a couple kids that had those, and it was one of those things that you would always go over your buddy's house, play with it in his room, knock everything off his shelves, break his piggy bank, and whatever else, and have his mom screaming at you. It was something you had to go do in the yard, and then somebody always got hit in the eye. Or
I do see them on eBay every so often. They're a little pricey, but someday I'm going to buy one just out of principle because I never had one as a kid, and I want one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's and a Nerf lightsaber is I might go and buy that right now. That's
I'm really kind of I want a Nerf lightsaber, but they've got a bunch of stuff. They got I believe they have Stormtrooper blasters as well as Chewbacca's crossbow or bowcaster. So I might just get myself a whole Nerf Star Wars setup and just run around shooting people because. Why not?
Yeah, this is I love how there's kind of a phenomenon of guys watching the commercials and almost getting brought to tears.
That's kind of where I've been. I mean, I've been trying to stay away. I've been trying to stay away from reading the stuff on the internet. But for me, trailers and TV spots have been fair game. I had said I kind of wasn't going to do it, but it's just too good to pass up.
Yeah, I did see the article I read recently was there was one of those idiot blonde bimbo talking heads on Fox News made a crack about Star Wars and space nerds and
how she was too busy being popular and beautiful or pretty or whatever.
Yeah,
it turns out that she is actually part of a news parody group, and they're on Fox. Who knew? But still, regardless, the internet blowed up.
Oh, she's like an onion type of thing?
She's kind of an onion type of thing, but nobody really knew that, I guess, because nobody had heard of her until she started calling everybody giant space nerds and all that. But she was getting death threats. Which, come on, people, you're better than that.
Death threats is a little extreme, but they were.
It's Star Wars, and you're not going to find anybody more passionate about Star Wars than the two of us idiots. I mean, we were there. We were there pretty much from the beginning. But yeah, getting death threats on that is kind of a little ridiculous. So guys, reel it in just a little bit. She doesn't have to go see it. She doesn't have to understand it. She's on Fox News.
Yeah. And it's been, probably since the prequels came out, it kind of became that cool thing to do, to be like, oh, I'm going to goof on Star Wars, or I'm going to say how it's a bunch of people that are dorks. And
yeah. And the prequels caused the franchise to take a pretty decent hit on that front. We're hoping that this rights the ship from everything I've seen so far. I fully believe that it has.
Did you see the Honest trailer or the Honest teaser for the Force Awakens trailer? They did it, and they're talking, and it was just kind of in the voiceover voice from the trailer, like different people talking, kind of whispering as they're watching the trailer, and they're like, "Oh, this looks so good. Who's that? Oh, what's this gonna be?" And then somebody towards the end goes, "Remember, we were all really excited for the prequels too."
Yeah. And I had said in a while that I was kind of going in guarded on this because of being burned by the prequels, but that has kind of gone out the window. Like I'm just like, it's like, little over 18 days. I've got my bucket of popcorn ready.
Yeah, I'm completely all in. I'm locked in, and that's where my world is right now. I'm going to probably do some kind of a media blackout in my life when it gets closer, so I'm not accidentally hearing anything. I've already said that I'm going to see it twice that day. I'm going to go see it once at night, and I'm going to go see it once in the morning, because I want to make sure I see it in the morning, so through the course of the day I don't accidentally hear anything, or somebody comes up to me and says something, and then I kill them, and it gets... Yeah. So for the protection of me and the people around me, I'm gonna I'm gonna isolate myself a little bit.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna segue back. We got away from Thanksgiving before. I had one more thing I wanted to talk about with Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving traditions, and this is something that came in a little bit later in life, and that was the Thanksgiving music.
Okay.
And I don't know how this started, and maybe it's just a tie-in for food, but for Thanksgiving music is always stoner music. It's pothead music. It's Alice's Restaurant. It's the band The Last Waltz, which was recorded on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then, a lot of Grateful Dead. And it might just kind of be because that's the kind of mood. You're in the car and you're just like, all right, I'm going to listen to this before I have to go deal with the family. Or once you're done and you get back in the car and you listen to some kind of just...
You just need something to kind of mellow out.
Yeah. Smoothie, even out music. Like this weekend, Palladia they showed The Last Waltz. They showed the 1972 Grateful Dead movie. They kind of had that theme going through the weekend of, all right, here you go, and it was for all those people that would, smoke a joint on the way to their moms or to their grandparents or whatever before Thanksgiving dinner, get nice and mellow, get the munchies, eat a shitload of turkey, fall asleep on a couch. That became a Thanksgiving tradition for some of us ne'er-do-wells out there. In my old age, life's different now with work and drug tests and reality, but I kind of miss it, especially when I saw it when there were 6 hours of
Grateful Dead,
the Grateful Dead and the band on TV.
I self-medicated in other ways. I got really, really, really drunk. So.
I kind of worked on that too. I was enjoying some honey bourbon, which has become one of my my go-to drinks. I do a little honey bourbon on ice, sit there, with a beer accoutrement to it.
I did stick with just beer. There was no real, hard liquor involved on Thursday, but
what are you drinking? All Trogs?
I was drinking a little something extra, which is really solid. It's Lagunitas. I highly recommend it if you can find it. It's a limited release. It might be gone now. Check it out summertime. But I had broken out my boot, and
Das Boot.
I have Das Boot. I have a liter boot, and I'm like, fuck it. It's Thanksgiving. I'm breaking out the boot, and was getting ridiculed for drinking that much beer, but I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't driving.
Yeah, right. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I had some Trogs Hopback. I had some wine.
Nice.
Because the family's a big wine drinking for every holiday. I had some of the honey bourbon. Me and my brother got into some of that after dinner. We had some after dinner cocktails, and the Not Your Father's root beer made its first holiday appearance this year for us.
And there is now Not Your Father's ginger ale.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
I have not tried it yet. I have a friend that tried it and said she likes it better than root beer.
Now, can I pour some like Seagram 7 in a Not Your Father's ginger ale and just like see pink elephants and shit?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, right. Everybody's
but
already.
Again, that's another one. If and we're this is kind of we're going to be a very eclectic podcast. But if you haven't tried the Not Your Father's root beer, it's a little easier to find now. I think.
I think it made its rounds. We got on that boat early, and it seemed like 2 months after we did, it was all over the place, and everybody was talking about it.
Everybody was talking about it, but it was still really hard to find. But now it's a little easier to find. I've tried a couple that I've tried that, and I've tried there's a Coney Island root beer as well. Not quite as good. I mean, it's still solid, but
I've had the Coney Island root beer too. I've had the Not Your Father's root beer in the bottle and the can, and I prefer the Not Your Father's root beer in the bottle. The Coney Island root beer, I've had it only in a can, and I think it's comparable to the Not Your Father's root beer in the can.
Okay.
But both it's you drink it if you're drinking it ice cold, they're both pretty solid, especially on a warm day. Or doesn't have to be that warm of a day. It goes down easy. It drinks real easy. And it seems like it's a big hit. My dad likes it. Me and my brother.
My father, who doesn't drink at all, enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And with the weekend we picked it up, we were at my sister's baby shower, and we had run to the liquor store because we were out of alcohol.
That was hey, let's try this.
And we're like, all right, well, let's try it. And we ran around to everybody at this shower, just like, you have to try this. This is amazing. I hear it mixes really well with ice cream.
It does.
Haven't tried it yet.
Yes, I might go do that right now after the podcast.
I do have some. I don't have any ice cream, but I have the root beer. So yeah, that's highly recommended if you get a chance to if you see it.
And this, in our little kind of veering in all directions conversation here, I guess this is we've encapsulated a lot about what we're going to talk about on this podcast, which is just kind of entertainment and enjoyment in general. Having something to drink, having something to eat, watching something on TV, watching a movie, watching a sporting event. We're going to talk about playing games. We're going to talk about, and we're not huge video game guys, but there's shit. That's, come to think of it, one of the things I forgot to tell you, I went out, spent money, bought a PlayStation 4 and a Star Wars Battlefront.
I'm like so tempted to, but I'm just so tapped out right now. I want to play Battlefront. I can get it for my PC, so I'm probably going to get it for the PC. Because I've loved all the Battlefront games prior.
Yes, I had played one. I had one for one of my handhelds or something, and I used to love playing it when I was flying places and stuff. It was I really enjoyed that game. But this, I'm not great at it.
Yeah,
but I'm getting better because I haven't had a ton of video game time, and when I do play it, I play it for about a half an hour at a clip. If I get a half an hour in a day, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm at that point in my life, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and it really, the commercials just really hooked me in, and I kind of justify it. I had a little bit of a nut saved up that I could blow the money on the PlayStation, and I needed a new Blu-ray player anyway, and by a happy accident, I wasn't even 100% sure about this. The PlayStation 4 is a Blu-ray player.
It's Blu-ray player.
And so, and it covers all my other issues too. Of it's the Blu-ray player. I can watch Netflix on it. I can watch the WWE Network on it. I can get Hulu. I can get whatever, and anything else if I'm going to stream something. I did it the other day to catch up on. Me and my wife like watching Gotham, but I never remember to DVR it. Or when I did try and DVR it, it was on against too many other things that we were DVRing. So we were watching it on demand, and then we fell off. So then through something on the PlayStation Store, I was able to buy the 3 episodes of Gotham that we missed for $2 a piece or something like that.
Nice.
And caught up on the show. So I'm still figuring out, I was a game console behind for a while. I'm
always a system behind. I mean, I'm still playing the 360. I love the 360. I don't play it enough to right now to warrant me getting anything newer. But Battlefront has kind of swayed me a little bit. Like if I at some point I do have the money, I might do it. My video game purchases this weekend were on the Xbox Gold. They had some pretty solid Black Friday deals. I got the Mortal Kombat arcade trilogy for like $3.
Nice.
And Batman, Lego Batman 3 for I think $5. And I'm a big fan of the Lego games. I can play those things for hours. So I highly recommend them.
Yeah, they're fun, and they're a good thing to kind of have if you have kids coming over your house or something. And you need to have like a babysitter. I've had, for Super Bowl parties, I've kind of set up a game system in the other room with some of the Lego games, and it occupies the kids. Gives them something to do, and it's something that it holds my interest enough that I like playing them, and it's good kind of universally for kids.
Yeah,
kids of all ages can play it. I did have an interesting conversation about the Wii U. My mother is buying my niece and nephew a Wii U.
Okay.
And we were talking about it, and I'm like, I know next to nothing about it. And I'm like, it's I thought it was more of a handheld thing, and then it turns out it's its own, it's a household gaming console.
Yeah.
And
I think our former co-host has a Wii U.
He does. I kind of need to get in touch with him to get a little bit of information about it. I did some research. I think I found out most of the questions I needed to, but it's I was kind of intrigued to find out that it's a Nintendo gaming console, and you only get one controller.
Yeah,
and it only supports one controller, which to me is weird. Which is with a lot of these games, it's more and more you're not playing a game in the house with anybody anymore, which is a little disappointing to me. I saw the Cinemassacre guys, James Ralph, the angry video game nerd.
Okay.
On his James and Mike Mondays, they did a review of, or they were playing the new Godzilla game for PlayStation 4, which looks awesome. And it's one of those, you walk around and you battle monsters in a city Godzilla games, but you can play against other people, but you only play against other people online. You can't have a second controller and play against the guy sitting on your couch next to you.
That's no fun.
Yeah, because it's, I'm like sitting, at this point in my life, we're 20 years into sitting and drinking beers and playing video games with a bunch of people in a room. Trying to hook up and play with people online and coordinate that. And then it's just like, all right, I'm playing this game with this guy, but I'm not sitting here talking to him. I'm not busting his balls. I'm not, it's not the same experience to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not a big enough gamer that I play online ever.
Yeah, I get my ass kicked every time I go online. I mean, I'm getting decent. The Star Wars Battlefront, if I'm playing in the dogfight mode, the flying the ships around, I'm good. But I'm still getting my ass. If you put me on the ground with a gun and I blow at it, and especially if I have to shoot at stormtroopers in any of the snow scenes, any of the Hoth stuff, I can't see them. So that's I'm like, oh shit, this game has proven to me that I need glasses.
Yeah. But I actually want to touch on two things, and this is kind of, again, we're kind of bouncing around a little bit, so we have to work on getting a little more streamlined here. But you were talking about binge watching and catching up on Gotham. Now you said you haven't seen any of Jessica Jones yet.
No. I wanted to. I'm kind of waiting for everything to get into its mid-season hiatus, and then I was going to go Jessica Jones.
Okay. I'm 3 episodes in. I didn't get too crazy into it. But so far, thoroughly enjoying it. Enjoying it more than I did Daredevil. And because kind of Daredevil, you kind of know the character going in. Jessica Jones, you really don't know much about. But so far, very, very, very solid. I highly recommend it. And the other one that you said you haven't watched any of, and I'm gonna tell you and anybody out there that's listening, Into the Badlands, which is the new AMC show. It's been coming on right after The Walking Dead the past couple weeks. I don't know how many episodes are in this season. It's fucking phenomenal. It is. It brings me back to watching those old kung fu movies, and just it's really good. It takes place in the future, but not like not the Mad Max future. But yeah,
it's an interesting future. It's a nice take. I like it. It's one of those shows that I feel like I'm going to play catch up on.
I recommend that you play catch up on.
I saw all the stuff for it. I just, I'm watching shows and just time in my life and committing to another hour-long drama. To me, it seems like I hate to watch a show and then need to, if it becomes one of those, I hate to have something ruined for me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. For me, it's been easy to watch because it's been coming on right after The Walking Dead. So it's been between The Walking Dead and The Talking Dead.
It's a smart, they've placed it right. They've done things.
Absolutely.
And I was close to setting my DVR for it, but I'm just like, I got between work and between other things I want to do or shows I want to, shows I'm already watching. I'm like, maybe I'm going to wait on this one. Because it's not necessarily something I think that me and my wife would watch together.
Yeah, I know my wife isn't into it.
Yeah,
I'm digging the hell out of it.
It looks very Kung Fu theater. It's kind of to me, it almost feels like it's Blade Runner kind of meets something is the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, in a way.
It's
hard to describe.
It feels like Blade Runner and Gone with the Wind put together.
I was just gonna say, kind of Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
It's like they're plantation owners, and they have these guys that they're I want to say they're called cleaners.
It's something like that.
I'm sorry, Clippers.
Okay.
And that's kind of the their main assassin. But it's definitely all sorts of insane sword fighting, and for me, it's kind of filling that need of a show that I've been missing for 15 years now since Highlander went off the air.
So are you putting our official Planet X podcast stamp of approval on Into the Badlands?
Yes.
There we go. We have our first official recommendation.
Is if you haven't watched it, I think they're 4 episodes in now. 3 or 4 episodes in. I highly recommend it. Don't know how many episodes are. I think it's a short season, but I highly recommend it. So, AMC's got me to, Walking Dead just finished their just had their mid-season finale. AMC's got me tuning in next Sunday night.
That's
without Walking Dead being on. So, I'm excited for it. And it's got me something. It's like, hey, something else to watch on Sunday night. And I guess the last thing I want to hit on, and this kind of goes back to the music conversation, was that the Foo Fighters just released a free EP. It's available for download on their website.
They didn't force it in everybody's hands. Like
it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It didn't automatically download itself to your iPod. If you want it, you go download it.
They didn't come in kicking their door. Dave Grohl's like, "Here, listen to this." Or
no, Dave Grohl didn't do that. You can download it in a couple different formats. You can also buy the vinyl.
I was gonna say, are they gonna give me a free vinyl for it? Because they're not
gonna give you. I don't think they're gonna give you a free vinyl for it. But they might. I didn't look into
all his music on vinyl now.
I didn't look into the vinyl yet.
Can Dave Grohl send me one of those? Remember those the like paper 45s that used to get like in a magazine?
Yeah. It's got 5 songs on it. It's called Saint Cecilia. I'm digging it. I'm a big Foo Fighters fan anyway. So I might be a little biased on it, but I think it's as good as anything they've put out in recent memory. Last 2 albums they put out have been really solid. I'm adding this one to the list.
They, with a lot of the stuff, the documentary stuff that Dave Grohl has done, the Sound City and the Sonic Highways, he's won me over with a lot of stuff. I've enjoyed the music, and I've enjoyed his enthusiasm for music. And as a guy who's like, I listen to a lot of different things, and music gets so segmented and gets so cataloged and categorized. And if you're going to listen to this channel and you're only going to hear these things, and you're going to listen to this and only hear these things, that to a guy like Dave Grohl and some of the things he's done to throw other music out there and give you a little history and a little bit of, and some new stuff and some old stuff, and shine the light on people who are making music and not people who are selling music.
Yeah.
Not the music they want to sell you, the music, music that's out there.
Yeah. So again, it's worth the price. It's free. So go check it out, download it.
I can afford free.
You can afford free. Anybody can afford free. So that's getting the Planet X podcast stamp of approval. Go check out the new Foo Fighters EP called Saint Cecilia. I think that's all I've got. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to touch on real quick.
No, not really. We're talking about music. It is it's not even a good number. I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's the 30th anniversary. And I'm like, oh no, it's the 38th anniversary or something of it's not even Thriller. It's 35 years old.
And I think I saw Google Plus or Google Play or something was giving it as a download for free. And say what you want about the man, but if you don't have Thriller in your album collection, you have failed as a human being. Because there ain't a bad song on that record, man.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that just everybody should have. It's like in the world. Yeah, if you like any type of music, there's a song you're gonna like on Thriller. There's gonna be
I don't think there's a.
Yeah, you're right. There's not a bad song on the album.
I don't think there's a bad song on that album.
But I'm sure I have the whole thing digitally, and I'm sure I have multiple versions of it in the world. But it's good that they're getting it out there, because you figure, especially now, there's a whole generation that might not have it.
Yeah. But if you're,
and if there's anything, now it's getting out there to the young people. So Michael Jackson would be happy to know that even after death, he's able to touch children.
You had to go
Music.
there, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
You
It was-
had to go there.
You see, it was a double entendre thing.
It
It was a
was.
heartfelt statement about.
About Michael Jackson and his kid touching.
Yes. God damn it. Still like the album.
Yeah, it's a great album. Great album. So I guess that's where we're going to leave you this week. You can check us out a couple different places. We're on iTunes and Stitcher. You can check us out at the Channel Z podcasts.wordpress.com. That's our kind of our official website. We're going to have some blog posts up there. Links to videos, links to the podcasts, maybe do some reviews, movies, games, whatever. Even just some blogs, just kind of shooting the shit. Also, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Channel Z podcasts. And also, if you want to get in touch with us, email us, yell at us, whatever, you can get us at channelzpodcasts@gmail.com. So that wraps us up. We will see you next week. I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you later.